Hi guys, welcome. And who dat? I'm Joe, and I'm here to talk about this weekend's game. The week one contest we witnessed between the Tennessee Titans as they traveled to the Caesars Superdome to take on our beloved Bless You Boys in black and gold, the New Orleans Saints. It was a tough, hard fought game. We knew it would be, and the Saints come away with the win. In the end, final score 16-15. Our defense looked fantastic. Our offense struggled a little, but they also managed to get a lot accomplished. When you score more than the other team, that's the name of the game. I think that overall, I got to say, the Saints looked fantastic. And I put all these things in perspective. I'm not going to panic like a lot of these reactors and talk about how awful the stuff was that looked pretty bad. This was the first game of the year. I expected hiccups. I expected Derek Carr to be a little off with his receivers, and he really wasn't. I expected the running game to struggle against this team, and they did. But I'm not giving up on that offensive line just yet as a run blocking unit or as a pass protecting unit. The player I identified in my expectations video of who was the questionable guy on offense was Trevor Penning, and he went through some growing pains in this game. This is the kind of thing we're going to have to deal with this year. If it gets really bad, we're just going to have to focus a lot of help on his side. But I expect him to be out there on an island quite a bit. He's going to have to learn. Now, to the detriment of Derek Carr's health, I'm not quite sure. And I don't know how long that had to go on before we gave Penning the help he needed. It came in the second half, and it was much better in the second half. But overall, that's the only question I had about the coaching in this game. I think Dennis Allen called a phenomenal defensive game, and I think Pete Carmichael called a pretty good offensive game as well. I don't think we utilized Taysom Hill as much as we could have, but your game plan against the Tennessee Titans, it has to, your idea has to be the pass the ball. The running game just was not going. And I don't think if Kamara would have been here, it would have fared much better. But it was an exciting game to watch for me because when the defense is playing good, I get excited. I like watching the defense on the field. That's the chance for the other team to score points. Usually I'm nervous, but not in this game. I was excited because those players for the Saints defense are fun to watch, and they make a ton of plays, and they did in this game. This game could have gone either way. It could have been a blowout by the Titans. It could have been a blowout by the Saints. Just a few plays here or there. And we could be talking about a big L, but instead we're talking about a big W. And I think when it was all said and done, the Saints managed to run the clock out, which is something we could not do last year. And we win the game. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Let's pull up the stats. All right, passing. Derek Carr in his first game as a Saint. With all that pressure, he finishes with 23 out of 33 for 305 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He was sacked 4 times. 2 of those sacks were given up by Penning. Everybody's stressed out right now. There's even some people that think we should slide Hurst over there and let Pete play left guard. I think that Trevor Penning is a work in progress. But I think overall, Penning is a better player than Pete. At this point in Pete's career, I'm not sure if you can get consistency. You never really did with Pete to begin with. Now, if they want to train Penning to play guard, he'd have to have an offseason under his belt. That could be a possibility. But I don't want to give up on the man just yet. I'm going to bring up another tackle that the Saints had. A guy named Willie Roaf. I had to double check on this. Willie Roaf, 11-time Pro Bowler, uh, Pro Football Hall of Famer. Probably the greatest offensive lineman the Saints ever had. We drafted him in 1993. And there was a game against the Atlanta Falcons when technically a backup defensive end, Chuck Smith, tore Willie Roaf up for 3 sacks. It was bad. I mean, Chuck Smith wasn't even technically the starter at that point. And here's our rookie tackle, our young tackle, which we had a lot of expectations for, first round draft pick left tackle, getting beat for 3 sacks by some guy that nobody here thought was going to amount to anything. Okay, so when Chuck Smith ate Willie Roaf's lunch for 3 sacks, I thought, man, that's rough. We got to play that guy. We got to play that guy twice a year. I'm not sure if Chuck Smith ever got another sack again against Willie Roaf. Now, I'm not saying Penning is Willie Roaf. I'm just saying that even the greatest players in NFL history have a bad day. Penning gave up 2 sacks. I'm not going to lose faith just yet. Running the ball for the Saints, tough. Jamal Williams, 18 carries, 45 yards. It's only an average of 2.5. I think the important thing here is that 18 carries. Because although the running game wasn't working, Pete Carmichael didn't abandon it completely. It felt like he did at certain points. But we kept going. We ended up running the ball more than Tennessee did. We didn't get a lot of yards. We only averaged about 2 yards a carry as a team. But Williams got an 11-yard gain to seal the deal. When he gained that 11 yards and got us the first down, the game was over. And I believe on that play, Jamal Williams was looking at the end zone. He could have scored. He went down at the 9. He fumbled the ball and had to recover it. Bless you, boys. But yeah, Jamal could have probably scored a touchdown on that play. He did the smart thing. He went down, sealed the game. Rashid Shaheed had 2 carries for 11 yards. Tony Jones Jr. got 1 carry for 5 yards. Taysom Hill had 3 carries for 4 yards. I believe his first carry went for 7, and then he lost yardage on the next 2. And Derek Carr had 1 scramble for like 6, 7 yards, and then he knelt on the ball twice, so he finishes with 4 yards rushing. The wide receivers, there you go. That's the guys on offense that got it done for us. Chris Olave, a stud, has a great game for any receiver on any day. 8 catches, 112 yards. He was targeted 10 times. That's a great percentage. We can keep this going all year long. Rashid Shaheed, 5 catches, 89 yards. He was targeted 6 times. And despite the fumble on the kick return, Rashid bounced back to have a phenomenal day. Michael Thomas, 5 catches, 61 yards. He was targeted 8 times. That first pass by Carr, 20-plus yard completion to Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas was covered. Michael Thomas went up and got the ball on the sideline. And having that first play was a beautiful thing. It told everybody in the league and everybody on the Tennessee Titans that Michael Thomas is for real. And if you were thinking about shadowing Chris Olave all game long, yeah, Michael Thomas is here to play. I love that was the first completion of the game. It's like, get that out of the way. You guys figure it out from here. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, Michael Thomas had an okay day. 5 catches for 61 yards. If he does that every week, he's going to finish the year with 85 catches for over 1,000 yards. Okay, that's not okay. That's pretty damn good. Juwan Johnson, 3 catches, 36 yards. He was targeted 5 times. He had one big play that was called back because of a penalty. I thought Johnson would be more involved, but I think in the second half when we had to start focusing help for Penning, that kind of slowed down the routes that were eventually run by the running backs or the tight ends. And I think that might have been where some of the issue was with the lack of focus toward the tight ends in the second half. We were blocking a lot. And Jamal Williams finishes with 2 catches on 2 targets for 7 yards. A couple of players had balls attempted to them, but no catches were made. But overall, Carr finishes with almost a 70% completion percentage. I'm looking at, I think it's technically 69%. I expect Carr to be a 65% passer for this team. If he can get 66, 67, up to 70%, yeah, we're doing good. And for Carr to be under that much duress all game long, and for him to manage these numbers, which is a really good day for any of the quarterbacks on this team for the last 2 years. Yeah, I'm excited about Carr. I'm excited about these receivers. And I'm not down on the offensive line just yet. We're not going to face a front like Tennessee has every week. We might face some overall better defenses, but I don't think we're going to struggle that much with the running game. I mean, I know we won't. Tennessee's got a great front, and we'll keep an eye on that the rest of the year. Let's talk about the defense. That's the team, man. Are we the best defense in the league? Well, we were hoping we were top 10. We thought we had the roster to be top 10, and I think this performance puts us in the top 5. And let's see if we keep it up. We hold Tennessee to 15 points, no touchdowns. Demario Davis leads the team in tackles with 10 total tackles, including a tackle for a loss. He had 9 solo tackles. And when you're tackling Derrick Henry, that's a job that requires a hard hat and a lunch pail. But you know what? Demario Davis shows no fear. And his padre right next to him, Pete Werner. Great game. 8 total tackles, a half a sack. That's 18 tackles between the two of these guys. And that's a indication of how well the defensive line played. Those 2 linebackers were phenomenal. Marcus May ends up with 6 tackles, an interception, and a pass defensed. Tyrann Mathieu finishes the day with 5 tackles. Alontae Taylor had a pass defensed to go along with 5 tackles. Alontae looked really good in the nickel. Not perfect, but he is a tackling machine, and that's one thing he can do that Bradley Roby wasn't the best at. Roby missed a lot of tackles last year. Oh, man, Cam Jordan. 5 tackles, a half a sack, 2 passes defensed. I love when the big man gets his big paws up and knocks those passes down. A great day for Jordan. And on the other side of defensive line, Peyton Turner got hurt. He hurt his toe. He's going to be out for quite a while. But the starter, Carl Granderson, looked great. 4 total tackles, 4 hits on the quarterback. Granderson also had a sack and a half. Marshawn Lattimore, wow, what a game. Is he the MVP of the game? 2 tackles, 1 interception, 4 passes defensed. And he is phenomenal. He keeps this up. He should be in the Pro Bowl. On the other side of the field, Paulson Adebo, 2 tackles, an interception, and a pass defensed. Tano Passanio had 2 quarterback hits. Brian Grossi finishes the game with a half a sack and 2 quarterback hits. Good job, Rook. And, of course, I'll give a shout-out to Ugo Amadi and Isaac Yiadom, whose play on special teams and their ability to come in on defense is the reason why they're on this team. Both of them get in the game. Both of them have pass defense. Good stuff. Rashid Shaheed returning kicks. He had 5 returns for 110 yards. He averaged 22 yards a return. Not bad. You'd like to see that right around there. 25 yards would be great. Anything over 20 yards I'm fine with. Rashid also had 2 punt returns for a total of 6 yards. He had 1 for 6 yards and 1 for nothing. But Shaheed carrying the ball for 11 yards, catching the ball for 89 yards, 110 yards on kick returns, 6 yards on punt returns. The man finishes with 216 all-purpose yards. It's the most all-purpose yards we've had by a player in quite a while. And the special teams. Blake Grupe, 3 out of 3 on field goals. And 1 extra point. He accounts for 10 points in this game, and we score 16. We choose Grupe over Lutz. Lutz went to Denver. He missed an extra point. He missed a field goal. The Broncos lost by 1 point. The fans in Denver are wondering, why did Sean Payton trade a 7th-round draft pick for a guy that only kicked 70-something% of his kicks last year, and a guy that's going to miss an extra point and a field goal in a close game like this? Well, Broncos fans, don't worry. Will Lutz is a good player. Sean Payton will trade all of your draft picks away. But you're going to have a competitive team, so just hang in there, guys. And congratulations, Grupe, on a fantastic day. I'm also going to point out Lou Hedley, the punter. 5 punts, 1 of them inside the 20. He had an average of 48.2. His punting wasn't stellar, but he didn't make any mistakes. It was very good, fine for what we needed. But I also got to say, Hedley is the holder on all of the kicks. So in order for Blake Grupe to make 3 field goals and an extra point, you got to have Zach Woods snap the ball good, great, and you got to have Hedley putting the ball down right. The whole operation has to work for Grupe to succeed. So good job, Hedley. No one gives the holder credit ever. I'm giving you credit. That's a big change on this team. Hedley's not only the punter, he's a starting holder, okay? The operations were fantastic this week. And another special teams play, Zach Bond. I mentioned in an earlier video, he's not going to make his presence known in the regular season at linebacker. He won't get that many chances. His chances on special teams, and there you go, a blocked punt on a day when Steve Gleason's in the building and being honored. Yeah, the crowd loved it. Put us in great field position. I think we got a field goal out of that one. Pretty good stuff, guys. The Saints defense, we held Tennessee to only 2 third-down conversions out of 12 attempts. The Saints, on the other hand, were 7 out of 16, which is not bad. Not bad for us, especially in the first game against that defense. Saints outgained Tennessee 351 to 285. People are pointing to that and saying the Saints could have ran away with this thing. Well, there were a lot of plays in this game. The incompletion by Carr that looked like a fumble to most of us. The referees went ahead and called it an incomplete pass. In that instance, they could have easily said it was a fumble. And they could have easily let the play out like they should have, which would have resulted in a Tennessee touchdown. There was also a couple of plays when Tennessee Titans were running free and Tannehill just missed on the pass. But there was also a deep pass to Chris Olave that, in our opinion, he was interfered with, and that play that was not flagged. That was a chunk play that got away from us. Overall, Tennessee ended up in the red zone 3 times. They came away with no touchdowns. The Saints were 1 of 3 in the red zone. Technically, we were 1 of 4, but the 4th time we were in the red zone, we kneeled on the ball to end it. So I can't count that one. So we need to get a little better in the red zone. But like I say, the penalties were bad at times, but I think we got a good shake. There was some questionable stuff there that went in our favor in the game, and then some stuff that went in Tennessee's favor. Overall, we had 7 penalties for only 45 yards. Tennessee had 6 penalties for 45 yards. All right, let's talk about players of the game as we wrap this up. On defense, defensive players of the game, I can't decide between Demario Davis and Marshawn Lattimore. I'm going to put them both up here. Davis is the spiritual leader, the captain, leads the team in tackles. Marshawn Lattimore getting it going with the turnovers, shutting down that side of the field, shutting down D-Hop every time he covered D-Hop. I think DeAndre Hopkins had 7 catches total, but he was targeted 13 times, and I believe he only caught 2 when he was going up against Lattimore. And we're talking about for 15 yards or something. So, players of the game for me, Demario Davis, Marshawn Lattimore. Got to give a shout out to linebacker Pete Werner, 8 total tackles, and defensive end Carl Granderson, who showed everybody why Peyton Turner was the backup. Granderson's going to have to keep this up. I don't know what we're going to do at defensive end just yet. We've got Isaiah Foskey, who we could activate. He's on our roster now. I believe Foskey's on the early injury report for this week, though, so we have to keep an eye out on this. There's the chance of bringing up Nico Lalos from the practice squad. Peyton will likely go on IR, and he'll probably be there for most of the season. And we won't know till the end of this week whether it's permanent IR or not. On the offensive side of the ball, the offensive players of the game, quarterback Derek Carr, despite all of the rust and newness and pressure that he felt, he really had a great game. I'm going to go ahead and give the edge to wide receiver Rashid Shaheed, who fumbles the kick return on the first play of the game and then turns around and has a 216-yard, all-purpose yard day, scores the only touchdown for the Saints, provides the biggest play with the 41-yard catch for the Saints. Great job, Rashid. I knew if we did the sweep with him, he would gain some yards on the ground. I expect to see the Saints get a little more creative with motion, play action, and I expect the running game to work. We did see Chris Olave in the backfield a couple of times, which was interesting. It causes mismatches. It did. I got wide receiver Chris Olave here as a player of the game. 8 catches for 112 yards. Such a good day for a wide receiver. And Derek Carr, the quarterback rating or the overall rating of 90-something. You hover around 90, 100. You're doing great. Completion percentage of almost 70. And Blake Grupe, yes, he's a special teamer, but he scored 10 points for this team. And the undrafted rookie could have had, a green day, but he did. Great job, Grupe. There you go. Our bless you boys. We're 1-0 in a tough division because the division went 3-1 this week. And we got to go to the only team in the division that lost this week. We have to travel to Carolina to face the Panthers in a Monday night contest. We're going to have to go against that incredible defense that the Panthers have, and they do have a good defense. But our defense has an advantage in this one as the Panthers quarterback is a rookie, and I believe Dennis Allen versus a rookie quarterback is a bet I'll take every day. So you guys subscribe to Rosenfield 10 for more videos like this. I will be doing a preview of the week 2 matchup earlier or later on this week. So subscribe, guys. And until then, I'll talk to you later. Who dat?